Okay, hi everybody. My name is Mike Henry. I work at Lighthouse Writers Workshop. I've been there for a while. I'm very excited to chat with Juan Morales today. He's down somewhere in the south of Colorado. Where are you exactly?
Thanks for having me, Mike. I'm in Pueblo, Colorado, so I think most people know where that is, but it's about two hours south of Denver. But if there's traffic, maybe 3.5 hours
Or
or
more?
more.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah.
excellent.
So,
Well, so he's a superb poet and a really nice guy, so I'm really excited to talk to him. So how are you? How are things going down there?
well, we are. It feels like we've been here for 4 or 5 weeks in this kind of quarantine life, so we're starting to get routines going, and sometimes you get squirrely, sometimes you don't get squirrely, but overall we're hanging in there okay. So we're doing our best.
Tell me more about these squirrely times. I'd like to hear some more about this.
The squirrely times, sometimes it's, well, we like anyone else that is fortunate to have the opportunity to work at home, you have to kind of deal with animals. I'm currently in my basement, so there's a lot of a lot of times when something happens outside, and then you hear like a rumbling of dog feet go above my head, and then around the corner, and then outside. So there's, and sometimes there's squirrels, but and there's just like a lot of people, I imagine you're kind of like, wait, what day is this again?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, it's Saturday, we should do something special. Oh, I thought it was Tuesday. So it's that kind of mixed bag.
It's literally squirrely sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. How many dogs do you have?
Four.
Four. Okay.
So they're a little mighty herd. Yeah, they're Shih Tzus and a Lhasa Apso. So they're
Okay.
they're those little Ewok type dogs that
Mhm,
have that big dog personality. But they definitely help with the sanity too, because they need to take walks, and
mhm.
one of them always likes to get the ball thrown to her and things like that. So it
It's
helps.
funny. I think dogs, there's something about dogs, they keep you grounded, right? In a way that sometimes is really frustrating, but then if you really just sort of lean into it, it's like, okay, this is exactly, I need to get up and let the dog in and out because then I'll actually breathe some outdoor air once in a while, right?
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
the other thing is I'm not getting as many steps as I used to, so the steps are kind of like, all right, I'm gonna go to the other side of the yard and back, and then back in, and things like that. So, yeah, so dogs continue to be the ultimate workout buddies that we need in
Yeah.
our
Yeah. That reminds me of,
life.
are you a fan of Mark Doty? Did you ever read any Mark Doty poems?
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you ever read Golden Retrievals?
No.
Oh my God, it's a great poem. It's a really great poem. I'll figure out a way to sort of attach it to the video. It's a
That
fun
would be
poem. I think
great.
it's a sonnet, and it's from the point of view of his golden retriever. So yeah, it's
I love, I haven't even looked at the poem yet, but I love how it kind of breaks the rules that you tell your intro classes. Don't write poems in the persona of an animal. And then Mark Doty's like, why not?
or a tree or a flower or a mountain, right? It's like go ahead if you do it well, right? Doesn't
It
matter.
was a fish all along. So
Are you writing at all? Are you still sort of engaging creatively?
yeah, I'm working on my fourth book. It's slow going, but it's really rough. But there's some poems that I'm starting to send out, which has been nice. Once the semester is over, similar to a lot of people that had to make the very quick migration to online teaching. Once the semester's over, I hope to get on a better routine. But yeah, the books, the new one feels good. I like where it's heading.
Is it a different kind of book, or are you risking anything, or is it something that's surprising you?
Um, so the book is tentatively titled "Hit, comma Miss" because my father passed away about a year and a half ago, or maybe like a year and a few months, and so I've been writing a lot of elegies in that context. But my father was Puerto Rican. He was a soldier, like a career military man.
Hmm.
But a lot of people kind of go like, "Oh, you're writing a grief book." But my father was a very funny man, so I'm trying to incorporate a lot of strategic ways of cussing, and a lot of like his kind of humor, and his kind of
Yeah.
his kind of zen humor with this. Because I was talking to my mother last night on the phone yesterday, and she said, like, well, like your father would say, you know, if your father were here during this right now, he would just say in Spanish, "Estamos jodidos," you know, like so. Um, Basically, the rough translation is "we're effed," you know, and so so so
It's
I'm
true.
writing a lot. I'm writing a lot of those types of poems about, you know, like the seriousness of grief, his service, but also like a lot of stuff about like funny Zen wisdom he kind of would give us, you know, growing
Yeah.
up. So and then and it's the other thing that's interesting connected to this manuscript I'm working on in the pandemic is I'm reading a lot on social media and in articles that I guess people are having a lot of vivid and lucid dreaming or
Yeah.
dreams.
Uh-huh.
So I'm writing. So because of this, I've been writing a lot of dream poems too. But because my father has visited me a lot in my dreams, so I'm writing a lot of like dad dream poems as well. So it's kind of interesting how the world out there is kind of
Yeah.
uh, feeding the world in here, and
Yeah.
in whatever that dream world is.
Does he when he visits you, I'm just curious about this because
Yeah.
when he visits you, does he is he the same person? Does he speak to you? Does he not speak to you? Does he act any differently?
So he acts pretty much the same, you know, but I was you know, I've been doing a lot of research on lucid dreaming and like if your loved ones are really visiting you or not, you know, depending on your belief systems.
Yeah.
But one researcher slash book I came across basically said like if you can see them, like if they present their eyes to you, that it's really them, but in
Yeah.
other times it could be just, you know, it could just be your subconscious or not. So in some of them I see his eyes, some of them I don't, but I always hear like his distinct voice, you know, like
Yeah.
you know, in the great thing about like, you know, the storytellers in our lives that have inspired our writing just like him, you sometimes you're just like doing the work of transcribing them and then a little bit of revision, and then the rhythm and syntax really presents itself. So there's like one of the poems, like, you know, is about I'm trying to explain the rules of the world with the dreams, and then like, you know, like my partner was in this dream and she's just like, uh-oh, look at this strange man messing with us, and then my dad in the dream says like, no, pretty lady, I just came to make sure you're doing okay, you know, and then we all just kind of laughed in the dream. So
Oh man.
it's like all it's, you know, so the exercise of writing these new poems in like dream transcription is definitely like a practice in voice and rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
When
kind of fun.
you so when you wake up from these dreams or when you're writing the poems, I guess these are two separate questions, but
Sure.
um, do you find that you're comforted, or does the grief well up again?
It's mixed, but for the
Yeah.
most part, um a lot of the dreams kind of started with this idea of working towards acceptance in a lot of ways, because like so like for example, in one of the dreams, like my father had a tattoo of a bird, and then I'm probably oversharing with people like with, but I was in a I like to do ghost hunts too, so I was like in this weird ghost hunt in Canyon City,
Uh-huh.
and a medium, like this medium started telling these things to like a group of us in the dark in this basement, and it was just kind of like, that's my, I was all like, I'm trying to be all skeptical, but I was just kind of like, that speaks to me,
Yeah.
that's, yeah, you know. But then like in one of the medium basically said to me like, you know, has a bird flown into your house recently, and I'm like, no, I know what that means, nice try. um but then you just kind of like, he's like, keep an eye out for birds because I think they're speaking to you. And then like, you know, after obsessing over birds for so long, suddenly I had this dream of my father's like bird tattoo, like climbing out of his arm and basically saying, this is the bird you're looking for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so so that's one of the poems I'm working on, and
Yeah.
you know, so it's a lot of transcription and a lot of precision that is kind of coming through the process. But that, you know, just to answer your original question, that bird brought me comfort, you
Right.
know, in in connection. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that sounds so cool. I can't wait to read these poems.
yeah, I can't wait to finish them.
Well,
Pandemic and all.
it should be easier just transcribing, right? So come on.
Yeah, well played, well played.
Yeah, no, I know it's not that easy. um,
Yeah.
So I wanted to. So you're holding out okay in these very strange times.
Yes, thank you.
Do you find yourself being challenged emotionally, intellectually at all, or are you just sort of like the day just sort of just blend together?
Um, I'm being challenged plenty with my my day job obligations, so that's I think that's the importance of a routine, is that otherwise you could kind of just sit in the basement and work for 13 hours and just say, "Oh, I forgot to eat again," and things like that. So
Right.
routine has definitely been important in exercise, but
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm looking forward to being more intellectually challenged with the writing eventually. But well, but like anyone else, I'm grateful that I can work from home, and do my part in making sure that I'm not going out there and risking other people.
Right.
So,
Right. Well said. Well said.
yeah.
And I know we talked about this before I turned the video on. So what sorts of things did you hoard before all this happened, and what sorts of things are you hoarding now?
Well, I I've been my the thing that I I like Friday the 13th was like the last day we like went out and kind of engaged in life, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously I've left the house a few times, but basically on like the 11th and 12th I was like doing some like supermarket sweeps kind of shopping. And um so the thing that I hoarded the most is peanut butter. I love I love peanut butter. So it's like that. And like the thing that I'm trying to prioritize is like greens, like salad greens.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
like yesterday when we were making our grocery list, I said like I was like, we need greens. I was like almost kind of freaked out about it. I'm like, we're down to the last serving of greens. So and it's just like, well, we do have other fruits and vegetables, Juan. It's okay. So
Greens. I need greens. Greens are important.
yeah. What about you? What are you hoarding or not hoarding?
What are we hoarding? Well, it's been sort of like munchy food. So I have two daughters. Andrea, my wife, she only eats greens. I mean, she's a total vegetarian. She only eats healthy, and I've sort of it's been this kind of ongoing battle with the two daughters. They eat
Yeah.
healthy, but then when I go shopping, they eat less healthy, I guess is the best way to put it. So we've been hoarding buffalo wing Cheez-Its. Those are very good. They're very spicy, but not too spicy.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good. And then I've personally been hoarding beer quite a
Yeah.
bit,
Okay.
although it's hard to keep it in the house somehow. It's been interesting, and I usually don't. I'm not a big drinker at home.
Yeah.
But now it's sort of like the one ritual that I think we've established is, 5 o'clock is cocktail hour. We make dinner and we, talk to the kids and we hang out, and I usually have a beer. I didn't always used to do that. So
Yeah.
I guess
Perfect.
that sort of thing we've been hoarding.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so that's about it that really comes to mind right now.
The
Nothing
the
else.
other the
Yeah.
other the other thing that I'm thinking about with this is like we have like a gamification kind of gamification in our kitchen now. We're trying to empty things. We're trying to empty cabinets and the freezer. We're kind of like, what are the things that we should have eaten a while ago that we need to eat? So there's definitely some.
Right.
Luckily, my partner's a very good cook, so it's not like a culinary nightmare. It's more of a culinary like, hey, that was pretty good. Well done. You know?
That's that's stuff in the back of the freezer, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Just kind of like, hey, did you know we have another bag of green chilies? This is good. There is
Let's
hope.
do this. Oh my God, that's great. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if we've really done much of that. I did reorganize the cupboard, so yeah, I tend to do that, and then it's sort of it's a battle against entropy. 2 weeks later, it's a mess again because that's just the way it goes. The
Yeah,
world
totally.
tends toward disorder. So
Yeah.
yeah, crazy. So this is technically this video is a part of the Throw Me a Line series. So
Okay.
the idea that one of us needs uh, is adrift and needs some sort of life-saving, quote unquote life-saving.
Okay.
So I think I'll be the person adrift, and you can throw me a line or two. I'd love it if you would read a couple of poems for us?
I'd be delighted.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Wait, so
So,
let me I'm gonna put you on speaker view, so then I'm gonna go away and it'll just be you.
oh, okay, great.
There
All
we
right.
go. Perfect.
I'll pick two poems and introduce the book where I'm reading, like the book. So I'm gonna read two poems from the Handyman's Guide to End Times, which came out in 2018 from University of New Mexico Press. And I recently had a friend say, like, man, it's too bad your book didn't come out now. And um, but I like to argue that the apocalypse was going on in a different way at that time. So I think what I'll do is I'm gonna read like in reference to our conversation earlier about dreams and dream writing. I'm gonna read a zombie poem that's also a dream poem, because a lot of my zombie poems kind of started out as dreams, and then I kind of helped them unified into this book. So this first one is going to be called Boy Scouts versus Zombies. And I wrote this poem before the Scoutmaster's Guide to the Apocalypse, which is a pretty bad movie. So anyway, Boy Scouts versus Zombies. In my elementary school gymnasium, Scoutmaster tells us to do our civic duty with sharpened sticks and pocket knives we aren't supposed to know how to use. There are no merit badges for this. We are never prepared for teachers and adults possessed with the undead gates that rips through a school full of children. If I survive, I will join the future of a living hell, rebuilt by orphans who sob for forgiveness to hungry for flesh mothers and fathers. I don't want to wear this uniform anymore. I don't want to be loyal to my den or a good citizen by putting down our bitten up scoutmaster, my absent mother, or reanimated father. I will pretend I get a pin for this.
Wow, that's beautiful and creepy and
Thanks.
and elegiac, and also, I mean, I love it. It's the point of view of the kid. I just love that. That's really so interesting.
Yeah, it came together nice, in that kind of kind of Bildungsroman in the apocalypse kind of way. That's for sure. So I'm gonna try to see if I can find a more uplifting apocalyptic poem. So
Why bother?
yeah, what the hell. All right. No, but okay. I'll read this one. It's called, and it's for the children, because the children deserve poetry too in these trying times. This one is called "Explaining Seafood to My Future Grandkids After the Extinction." I will describe, like a murder, how we used to rip open juicy bodies and clacking claws of lobsters and crabs to feast on warm meat inside. I will smack my lips describing how we seared tiny ones with red tails called shrimp in butter, garlic, and batter. I will contaminate the moment by describing cocktail and tartar sauce as red or white. I will explain how the ocean snake-like wonders called eels were bendable monsters made only of arms and fish, who swam in nimble clouds up and then down to the depths where deep-sea creatures created their own lights in a time when the sea was not stung full of jellyfish and swirling garbage, and we swam with the taste of salt pressed to our lips. All right. Well, those. I think you're on mute, Mike.
I just said some really smart things about how wonderful that poem was.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. So
darn it, my microphone's
no, that's all good. Thank you. Thanks for that. Yeah.
beautiful and dreamlike. I remember the poet Mark Irwin, who's sometimes in Colorado. Do you know Mark?
Um, I've been on phone calls with him. I've been on email chains with him, and we've published him in Pilgrimage too. So
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
Mark's a great poet. Yeah.
He once said that all poems should have a trajectory from starting on earth and then aspiring upward. And I thought that poem almost does the opposite in a way, which I thought was really beautiful.
Thanks.
Going into the depths, which in some ways I guess is also the process of exploring one's dreams in a way.
Yeah, going inward for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
exciting.
looks like, as far as I know, because I'm no expert on what's going on at Lighthouse, you're teaching a class on dreams.
Yeah,
In
that's
June.
right. Yeah, that was yeah. Yeah, I've been obsessed over it with my own writing, and I thought I would do my best to continue to pay it forward. With those lighthouse opportunities when they come. So yeah, I want to kind of walk people through this process of dream poems. It's going to be a one-time workshop, but
Mhm.
what I kind of hope is we work on drafting it and then kind of talk about also those routines that come with dream writing, because it's fun, but it also requires process as well.
Yeah, a certain amount of, I think, again, going back to the idea of schedule, right?
Yeah,
Wake up and write what you dreamt.
yeah,
Yeah,
otherwse it's gone.
right.
So
Yeah,
some of them you're like, oh, I'm glad that one's gone, but other ones you're like, oh, I should have saved that one.
yeah. Tired of that one. Oh man. Well, thank you so much for reading us your poems and for spending some time with us. And I hope you take care of yourself.
Thanks. Yeah.
And keep delving into the recesses of the fridge and the freezer.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I'll try to. I don't post food Instagram usually, but maybe if something really innovative happens with our pantry
Yeah.
happenings, it'll be there. So, but no, thanks for the opportunity to share with everyone, and I hope everyone is safe and in good health.
Well said. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.